Why? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Why is it so quiet? Hold up. I think that's the one. Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Create Your Own Truth. This episode is very special because I am playing around with the idea of uploading my podcast to YouTube. So I'm actually recording this right now. If you're watching the YouTube version, hello. You get to see my goofy self recording these. I like to sit on my floor. And if you are listening on Apple or Spotify and you want to watch me talk and record this podcast, head over to my YouTube channel. I will link it on Instagram where you probably saw this post is uploaded. But I'm just playing around with this. It's something I've thought about doing for a while, and then my coach actually suggested it as well. So here we go. I think this is episode 17. We're starting 17 episodes in and seeing how this goes on YouTube. 17 episodes, wow. 17 is my lucky number, and it's my birth date, and it's always been a lucky number of mine, so maybe this is lucky, 17. But let's get straight into the episode because this is a super, super, super important topic, and I actually posted on my stories, my Instagram stories, a couple of weeks ago that I was going to be recording this episode because I had gotten off a call with my client, who I am so freaking proud of. She honestly is a totally different person than she was even a year ago, and I could not be more proud. Going from letting other people basically run her life, she is now taking ownership over her life and actively making choices that align with who she wants to be. And I am so freaking proud of her. And the reason I posted that I was going to record this episode, which this episode is all about accountability and awareness, and I am not talking about like having an accountability buddy and showing up to the gym. That is not what this is about. We'll get into it. But the reason I posted I was going to record this episode is because people in her life, and this is something I have dealt with as well, and that so many of my other clients have dealt with as well, and I am sure if you are listening to this right now, you can relate to this as well, that when people start to make changes in their lives, sometimes other people are not okay with that. And what it comes down to is that they are not okay with it because it forces them to look within at their own lives and realize that they have so many changes that they need to make, but they are unwilling to do so, or that they're not even aware that they need to make changes. They are in total denial, unwilling to look within. And what happens as a result of that is that they project their own bullshit onto other people, which is what was happening with my client. It's what's happened to me many times. It's what's happened to other clients of mine that I have helped guide them through these changes. And it is upsetting, especially as a coach who I am so proud of this person. I'm always proud of all of my clients for any changes that they've made and for taking ownership over their lives and creating the lives that they actually want to live. And then to see someone come in and beat them down, like, it sounds ridiculous. And we've all done it to people, believe me. It's not fair to say that we have not done this to other people as well. But that's why awareness, self-awareness is so freaking important, because if you're not even aware of what you are doing and what you're projecting onto other people, you can be flinging harm all over the place. And it's just not fair. It is not fair. And I want to start off by saying, we've already been talking for 5 minutes. I. I've already been talking for 5 minutes, but what I want to continue with by saying is that when you go on this journey, like I feel like I've been on this journey to practice more self love and set boundaries in my life, and some people are just not okay with it. That's totally fine. But when you become more self aware and you stop harming others in your life, you start to see how unaware some people actually are. And I don't mean that to shame anybody. If that triggers you, take a moment, take a deep breath. But when you become more self aware in your own life, you really start to see how unaware some people can be. And it causes so much harm. And we're all about reducing harm. That is one of the things I am focusing on in my own life, my business. I feel like that's part of my purpose in life, is to create a positive impact and reduce harm. So when you see other people doing it and refusing to become aware in their lives about what they need to recognize about themselves, or they are just totally unwilling to change, it's like it's staring you in the face. You're like, how have I not seen this for years? And my sister-in-law and I, we have actually talked about this a lot because we've gone through similar journeys. We've had a lot of differences just because we're unique humans and have unique lives and different experiences. But there definitely are some similarities, and we've talked about this a lot, whereas the more aware we become, it's almost like a blessing and a curse, because you're creating the change that you want to see within yourself, but then you're also like super aware that there's so much that needs to be changed out there and that other people are just ignoring. So that's why we like to say it's a blessing and a curse, but I will consider it more of a blessing. So let's get back to the root of this episode, which is accountability. So when you make changes in your life, it is straight up going to piss people off. When you start becoming more accountable, you start creating changes you want to see, you start becoming the person that you want to be, that you've envisioned for years, it will piss people off. I promise you that. I promise you. Even if they claim they love you so, so much unconditionally, if you are doing things that they are not okay with, it will piss them off, and it doesn't matter if they say they have unconditional love for you. It will cause them to want to push your buttons, and you are going to feel like you are going to go crazy. Crazy. It will make you think that you're doing something wrong, and it will make you question everything that you've done up until this point to create the life that you want. You're going to start questioning, am I doing the right thing? If other people are telling me that I'm upsetting them or I'm hurting them, maybe I should look at my actions and my behaviors and think twice about making these changes. Maybe I'm not meant to go down this path. They're going to make you question yourself. But again, I remind you, this is just other people projecting their own issues that they refuse to work on onto you. We all know that saying, misery loves company. And it's so, so true. Misery loves company, and people will resort to that low, low point, but we are not going to meet them down there. We are going to stay high up there. So when this type of interaction happens and you start questioning yourself, I want you to move through that fear, move through those self-doubts, and move through them anyways. Even if everything in your body and your mind is screaming at you like, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, people are mad at you for changing. No, move through those fears, move forward imperfectly. That's how we keep taking action forward, so that we're not overthinking things and we are not second guessing ourselves. Listen to your gut. You have to be your number one. You do not listen to what somebody else is telling you about your own life. The only person that knows who you truly are and what you truly need is yourself. I don't care if you're married, if you have parents who love you unconditionally, if you have a twin who claims they know you better than everyone. You know yourself, better and way, way more than anyone ever could. So listen to your gut. Our bodies and our minds are very smart. We just have to tune in and listen to them. If you do that, I promise you, you're going to be set free. Is it an overnight change? No, nothing is. I always say that, but it takes practice. It's going to take uncomfortability. It's uncomfortability. You know what I'm saying. It's going to take getting out of that comfort zone and just pushing past those doubts and those fears. Listen to your gut first and foremost. You know yourself better than anyone, and no one can tell you who you are. And if you've already made changes in your life that you are so proud of and people are harping on you for, or even if you haven't made changes yet, but you took that step forward into awareness, that's already a huge change. And if someone is going to tell you how to live after that, we didn't come this far to let others tell us how to live. So if people are not okay with the decisions we are making for our own lives that literally have nothing to do with them, they can F off. It's as simple as that. They can F off, and they can do the work on their own lives if they have an issue with what you are doing in your life. Oh, record podcast. I'm doing that right now. Thank you, Google Calendar. We are not going to put others down. Nope. We are not going to put ourselves down just to make others more comfortable. Why would we make ourselves miserable in order to make more people, in order to make others comfortable? Like, when you word it that way, it makes no sense, but we do it all the time. We are not going to give up all that we have worked for just because someone is not okay with our choices, because they are unhappy with their own choices in life. Everything is a choice. Yes, life happens to us sometimes, but our reaction to it is always a choice. Does that mean it's easy? Hell no. But it is a choice. So anyone who is staying rooted in misery and unhappiness, that is their choice. So just remember that people project their bullshit onto others because they are unhappy with themselves. It might seem like it has something to do with us, especially if they're saying like a direct statement. That can be like the most confusing thing. If they are directly saying something to us about how they are bothered by something that we're doing, or, you know, unless it actually is something harmful. But if you are just living your life and making changes that you want to make, and someone is offended by the changes that you're making in your life, and it doesn't harm anybody, then that has everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. So remind yourself that when you are encountered with that situation, especially if it is a direct statement of something that they are telling you about the choices that you're making when they have no harm on anyone. It has everything to do with them and nothing to do with us. Say it with me. It has everything to do with them and nothing to do with us. So when this happens to you, because it will, and I'm sure it has countless of other times in your life, but if you are more aware now, when it does happen, you're going to realize it much, much more quickly. If you don't want others dictating how you live your life, you need to ask yourself what you want. And everyone else can basically F off, like I said. You need to ask yourself what you want, and you want only. It doesn't matter what someone is expecting of you or asking of you. If it is something that is violating a boundary of yours, or it is causing harm to your mental health, or it's just not aligning with who you are right now, it's a no. It is a no. And I know how hard that can be. It's going to take practice saying no more and setting boundaries, Believe me, it's not an easy road, but it does set you free and creates more happiness and joy and protects your energy, which is so, so important. Because if you're always giving away your energy and you're always focusing on other people's needs, wants, expectations, you are going to be miserable. I promise. You are going to be miserable if you always put others' needs and expectations and wants first ahead of your own. Take care of your mental health first and foremost. If you don't do this, you are not living with accountability. And you are giving away your power, your precious, precious energy to other people. They are controlling your life now, not you. You're not the owner or the boss or the CEO of your life at that point. So you are unaccountable. And that is the harsh reality. That is the tough love we all need to hear, because it's that important. We have to take full ownership and accountability of our lives. And that means putting ourselves first always. Our mental health needs to come first always. And sometimes it might not seem like it is a big deal. In the moment, you might be like, well, pick your battles, or, I've got to just let this one roll off of me. And I understand that, because this is something I'm still dealing with as well, like picking my battles. But if it's something that is like, feels like it's stabbing you in the gut and you're like, this just doesn't feel right. Again, listen to your gut instincts. It's not right. If it is telling you, your body is telling you something is wrong here, this is not resonating with me, this is not aligning with who I am, listen to that gut reaction, because I guarantee if you don't do something about it, you're going to be living in turmoil. You're going to go over all of the scenarios in your head that you could have said or done in the moment. You're going to be kicking yourself for not standing up for yourself, not putting yourself first, and again, giving away your power. Owie. So like I said, I have dealt with this a lot, especially in the last year or two, really just setting boundaries and putting myself first and giving myself what I need. But I also want to give an example from recent experiences where I wasn't being accountable, I wasn't being aware at first, and I had to flip it around so that I was taking accountability and I was in charge of my reaction over the situation. So I was bothered by something that someone told me, and my mood, I could still tell it was starting to, and my mood, I could tell it was starting to change quickly for the worse. And I could feel myself even starting to get into a little bit of a funk. And I was trying to get work done, and I had to stop what I was doing because I literally couldn't focus. This was bothering me that much. So I pulled out my trusty handy dandy journal. Love my journal. It allows me to just reflect and dig deep and let pen flow to paper without judgment. It doesn't have to make sense. And I just allowed myself to reflect on the situation. And before I knew it, I journaled 2 pages, and I had uncovered why I was letting this affect me, why I was so bothered by this situation. And what I uncovered makes total sense. And I'm not going to get into it. The specifics don't matter. But what matters is that I chose not to allow this to affect me in a negative way. I chose to reflect on why I am bothered by what was told to me, why I was allowing it to affect my mindset and distract me from the work I needed to get done and just change the overall mood for the day, and why I was not expressing compassion and I was just feeling sorry for myself. So by the end of it, I finished by journaling an affirmation that completely flipped my mindset. And I took a deep breath and I felt so much better. I was in control. Excuse me. I was in control of my reaction at that point. I was no longer feeling sorry for myself. My mood was immediately boosted and I was able to move on with my day. I felt so much better. But it takes that awareness, it takes that accountability. It's not easy, believe me. We would rather just let ourselves dwell and wallow in those feelings instead of looking within. Looking within is freaking hard. But when it came down to it, the initial feelings I had about this situation, they were nothing of what I was truly feeling. So what I uncovered by journaling and reflecting on it was so much more important to reveal to myself than what I assumed I was feeling in the beginning, those initial reactions. I stripped those away and got to the bottom of what I actually was feeling and why. And then I flipped it. I created some new affirmations based off of it, and I took back control. If we give up our control over our reactions and our responses in life, we are giving away our power, our energy, and we are giving up our accountability. So this is an example of what you can do when you are the one projecting your own BS onto others, even if no one's aware of it. Like, no one was aware that I was doing this, but I was aware. I was feeling miserable. I was feeling down. I could feel myself spiraling into a funk, but I chose to take action and pull myself out of it. So if you are the one projecting onto other people your own inner struggles and obstacles, I want you to be willing to look within, get vulnerable with yourself. No one's going to read my journal. No one's going to know. It's just me. It's just you getting real with yourself and taking ownership over your reactions in life, which is the biggest game changer. So commit to doing that. And then the whole first part of this episode, not allowing others to project their BS onto you. If you can set boundaries for yourself out of self-love and protecting your energy, and you can be aware when you are projecting your own crap onto other people and flip it around, oh my God. Like, talk about passing through a epic threshold in life. So do those two things and stand firm in it. Do not doubt yourself. Put yourself first. Protect your energy. Set those boundaries that you need to set. And then make sure you are not causing harm to other people. Make sure you are the one doing the work as well. Make sure you are reflecting. Make sure you are reflecting on why you are bothered by what someone else is doing, or why you are reacting a certain way to a situation. Take full accountability. It will set you free. And to just wrap things up, this episode is the perfect embodiment of the name of this podcast, of this entire podcast. Create your own truth. Because as my purpose for this podcast and my business says, we all deserve to live freely and authentically without fear of judgment or expectation, which is exactly why we have to put ourselves first and not give in to what others expect of us because they are not willing to do the work on themselves. Stop expecting things from people. Focus on yourself, your journey, show up and be kind, but don't sacrifice your boundaries. Protect them, protect them, protect them. Don't give up what is so important to you and your life just because someone else has an issue with it because they are projecting. Don't give up what is so important to you and your life just because one person has an issue with it. They need to look within, and that is not your responsibility. Create your own truth, and you will set yourself free. It is going to be an ongoing journey, but I promise it is worth it. Let's create our own truth. A boob. Thanks for watching.